Welcome back to our series of interviews from Nowe Horyzonty Festival, and today I am pleased to talk with Leonardo Van Dijla, the director of Julie Keeps Quiet. Hello.
Hello.
First question. You just had your feature-length debut at Cannes Festival during the week of critique. How do you do it?
Work. I think that's the biggest advice I can say to other people. I really worked very hard, and because there are things you can do good, and there are things you can do less good, and so I created time to really work a lot on the things I was not that good at, to learn that as well, and work and think, and for a very long time it was non-stop Julie, and I believe in that way, that I hope is the reason why I got to Cannes, because I worked very hard on trying to make a movie that was Cannes worthy, let's say.
And how long was that journey? Like, how many years were you working on the shorts and stuff like that before you went for that feature-length debut?
Yeah, that's hard to say, of course, because in a way I see also the shorts as part of the work. And then I was writing on a script that was a bit like this, but I didn't like it. So, but I had a script, but I threw it away. And then I had the idea for this. Then actually, somehow it went more fast to write it, at least. But then, you go into pre-production, production, post-production. And I think in general, yeah, if we would say the day that I started on the script till, now it's finished, I would say it was 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of long. But now that you experienced the Cannes, do you feel that premiering at such festival, at such section of it, opened a lot of doors for you, or is it like?
Well, it opened the door to be here today in Poland, and that's fantastic because in ways or something, now the movie is going to travel a bit, and you have the opportunity to learn really interesting people with a really good taste and smart taste in cinema. We're talking about films that you might never have heard of, and discover new things, and also new visions on your own movie. So yeah, for me in that way, that's the best gift that comes out of it.
And how would you compare the experience of being at Cannes with your movie versus the experience of being at Nowe Horyzonty? Because I imagine that at Cannes it's more like you get to know the opinion of movie critics, producers, distributors, and here you are face to face with normal audience, regular people that are experiencing your film for the first time. So how would you compare these two experiences?
I wouldn't say, that the audience here is regular people, because, there are a lot of regular people also at Cannes, or people that are in the industry but are maybe to me very regular. But the thing is that I was really scared, because you don't know how, it's not because you get selected that, the critics can still slay your movie. You know what I mean? People really the premiere, people can start walking out and decide this is the most horrible film that Cannes ever has selected or something. So I in that way I was preparing myself maybe for that, and luckily it went the other way. So that allows me now to be a bit more at ease or something. But at the same time, whether it was doing a Q&A there or doing a Q&A here, it all feels still very new. It's fun, but it's also a bit scary, and it's just one long journey basically. There is not really the difference between that or that. It's just a story where you evolve.
Okay, so just one really long experience that you have the opportunity to be part of. This movie was not only a feature-length debut for you, but for the main actress Tessa van der Broek as well. And she is really the standout part of the film. I think you will agree that her acting skill is something superb. How did it work out so well? Like, where did you find her, and how much work you needed to put into creating this personality on screen with her?
Actually, you know, I spoke earlier about work. I don't think that this was much work because she was already, you know, a fantastic actress. She just had no experience, and I had to, you know, like, I guess, like, guide her a bit through it. But it's almost like, you know, somebody who can sing really well. You know, if you have it, I didn't have to learn how to act. It was more about the technique of how we make a movie. So we rehearsed a lot, and not only with her, but with all the young tennis players, because they are all, you know, they are part of the team, and they're tennis players. They are not actors. So it was in that way, it was nice because it was for them. It was the first experience, but for me, as it was also my first experience to make a long feature film. So I also didn't know, you know, which adventure we would start. So we were a bit like, you know, all in it together. Then to celebrate, you know, the fantastic performance of Tessa at Cannes, for me, that's something where, you know, like, I am like, yeah, that she deserved that or something, because I also, you know, I'm still flabbergasted about how well she did it. And there are scenes that she doesn't play. And it's like, but I have never seen something like this before. And
yes, this is like a really hard part to act. I think, like, the subtlety that is required to really show all the emotions without, like, overplaying them. That's something you rarely see in such a young actress.
But that's the amazing thing, because Tessa knew that herself. Even though she's 16 or something, she was like, you know, Julie wouldn't do this, or she understood the character and in the behavior, because she's also, you know, she is a tennis player, and, you know, like, in one way or the other, she knows how it is to be a teenager, and, you know, like, so she could approach it in that way with that experience. But at the same time, for me, it was really important that, you know, Tessa and Julie stayed away as far as possible. I didn't want to go into method acting, you know, like, I was like, acting in that way, it's just, you know, it's a game. It's like
you don't want to scare,
no,
like scar your actress.
Exactly. And, you know, like, you just, you know, like, you learn your lines, you know, we're going to do a shot and we're going to tell you where you are, and maybe you have to walk right or left, or, you know, like, look in the camera or look above the camera, whatever, like, but that's it or something. It's, for me, I approached it very technically, and because they are athletes in that way, you know, they understand technique, because, you know, a sport like tennis, that's only about technique. So, yeah, I mean,
they know how to switch it on and off,
yeah,
without problem. Okay, that's really interesting. And we already mentioned a lot of tennis in this conversation. What made you decide to situate this story within tennis? Why not any other sport? Like, do you have previous experience with tennis?
Well, I started playing tennis as a little kid, and I never really, you know, aspired, you know, I wouldn't say it even a career, but I didn't really even do competition. But I kept on playing it, and I love it. And, you know, like, if you tell a story like this, you know, better tell it in a sport that you know a bit, that you have some affection with. And most important, I wanted it to be a sport, a positive sport, somehow. Like, that it's a sport that is good for Julie. That, you know, like, when she sets foot on the court, that she's happy, that she likes playing it. And in that way, you know, like, if you love something, and, you know, it's easier also to transmit this on the screen, that passion or something. And that's why I choose tennis, because, you know, I guess because I love it, and I wanted my character to be in love with something that I also love.
You also mentioned that all the actors that are playing tennis players are actually tennis players. So was it like a regular casting, or was it that you were going to, like, tennis clubs and looking for natural actors there?
We also went to clubs, but the casting announcement was just, we are looking for tennis players. Yeah, you know, like, I mean, there are 16, so it didn't make sense for me to, you know, at 16 in Belgium, I mean, there are no professional actors. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, yeah, then better to find just tennis players and see who's there and can actually say a few words, and you work with that. Then, you know, like starting to learn how somebody who likes to be an actor, you know, like give him a coach, and yeah, that would be impossible. That other option. So we were very open in it, and in that way also, like, you know, once we had, you know, found Tessa, you know, we could start working about, like, you know, good characters around that or something. But we also scouted a lot of tennis players just at her tennis club after.
What's also unique about this film is that the topic you chosen to tell the story about is a very touchy subject, very hard story to pull off, and you decided to focus fully on the perspective of Julie, without involving any parents or even adults. I think like adults are always in the background of the story. We don't really get these monologues from them explaining what she's supposed to feel. You just let her be herself. And how did you come to this decision? Because I feel like it's still a rarity to see this fully realized perspective of a victim coming to terms with being a victim.
There are multiple answers to that question, because, for example, there were maybe in the actual script some more, you know, like grown-up monologues. But if you put them in the movie, it was just so stupid in a way, because you are that close to Julie and you understand what's going on. You know, like if then the mom is like saying, it's okay, you are like almost like you're a bad parent. You don't understand your child. So, you know, that's, you know, on my behalf, you know, I made that error doing the script, and I only, you know, when I say work, you know, I only became smart while editing, because I was like, this is just a nonsense scene or something. So that's, you know, something that gradually grew, I guess, throughout the process. But at the same time, I think it's also because, you know, the conflict that Julie's in is ultimately super universal, because it's about silence. And, you know, like, and silence is many things. You know, it's many emotions that we have as a human being. It can be shame, it can be fear, it can be blah, 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 blah. And I think because of that silence in that way, it's so, what she's going through is so transparent that you can easily find access as a viewer into her story. So yes. I tried it, it's weird to say also during filming, I tried it actually like not to go too close to Julie, you know, in the camera shots and stuff like that. But still, you know, people, they want to be, you know, close to her. And it became a very, you know, like intimate movie, much more than I actually intended it to be.
Yeah, the movie is intimate and most of all naturalistic, I would say. You allow all these characters to just be themselves without forcing them to do anything. And something I really appreciate as well is that you didn't really like go full into the topic of why she's silent. Like we never get like this clear view. We don't have this like exposing scene where something comes out and like there is ton of evidence for it. For the first half of the movie, you are not really certain what he's accused of, and that's also something really rare, I think, in stories like this.
But you know, it's because of all those other stories that we already have seen that I could take the liberty to not do that, because we know that story, we have seen that story, and I could, you know, in that way, like, you know, go freestyle.
And what were some of those stories that you went off from?
Well, you know, I don't know, just like reading the newspaper.
Oh.
You know, like.
So just natural yeah. Inspiration.
But the thing is, when you said like, you know, like because you said the movie is naturalistic, and again, for example, that's something that how I approached it was absolutely not naturalistic. You know, like I really worked like almost like in theater. you know, like everybody had his place and had his cue, and it was really, you know what I mean, like very technical. And in that way, like they were less allowed, you know, like to just be, because, you know, they had to be the character. And the moment I said cut, then, you know, like they could be themselves, and, you know, like what I mean, like, and it's funny because, you know, like it seems so believable in a way, well, you know, like everything is in a way staged, because again, I wanted to create separation between these teenagers and the character that they had to play, because, you know, I didn't want it to stick on them afterwards.
That's a really interesting approach. Like I couldn't tell during watching of this movie that it was like super meticulously directed. So great job on that, really. And could you tell us a little bit about the production itself? Like in Poland, most movies are produced mostly with money from our government. How does it look in Belgium? Like, how does the process of getting funds and just going with the production full on goes on there?
Well, first you need to find you know, the Flemish funding, and that there are like a few steps you have to take to get actual production money. So that already, you know, like itself can easily be a year and a half, 2 years. And then once you get there, then you can apply for co-production. And I think, you know, it's exactly the same as in Poland. And then it's a bit, you know, like how much money do you want to find for making this movie? We knew that with a subject like this, that it's hard because, you know, like, you know, when you read it on the paper, it doesn't really seem like a very exciting movie. And then if you call it Julie Keeps Quiet, you know, like those fundings will say you have a problem, you have a very passive character because she's not saying anything. And I say, no, you know, that's actually a choice, and that will make her a very active character in a way. So, you know, we will also choose like, let's try with a few funds, but like not, you know, prolong the process too much. And just, once we had the production money, we started the casting, and we were like, we're going to shoot this summer. So there we didn't, you know, like lose too much time, or like invest, I would say it like that, invest too much time in that partnership. So we had like, but we did have Wallonia, which is weird, but it's Belgium. And, you know, Wallonia is a co-producer for us. And then in post, we found also money in Sweden. And that was really, really, really good, because otherwise we wouldn't have had money to finish the movie, basically. So thank you, Sweden.
Yes, we all love Sweden for most of the time. I guess that's a Polish history reference. So 2 last questions. The first one, do you have any plans for the next project? I know it's just like you released this film like 2 months ago, so it's probably really fresh for you, but do you have an idea and like a concrete plan for the next topic?
I have ideas. While we had the screening, I had to wait for 2 hours, so that was good time for me to work a bit on that. But I also like this period where, you know, like I just like, it's on my iPhone and it's on notes, and there is not like that, you know, that professional way of like, now I'm going to write a treatment. It's more like, you know, like just, you know, I have a character and I'm talking a lot with it in my head. And then, you know, like I say, this is and this and this. And it's fun. It's in a way, like it's very addictive, I would say, to be always in company of a fictional character or something, because you're never bored, basically. You will always have like, you know, like somebody to talk to. And so, yeah, we said goodbye to Julie. You know, she's now on her own, independent, and now I have invited a new character in my life.
And the last question is: before the interview, you said that you've been in Poland for a few days and you are leaving tomorrow. But did you have any chance to enjoy the festival? Did you see anything worth recommending?
I saw Housekeeping for Beginners, which I absolutely loved. And I also had the chance to see Baby from Marcello, who was also with me in the competition at Semen. And I also loved that movie. And then, you know, that were the only two that I had seen, because the ticket system is really, 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 really frustrating. Sorry, but I set the, you know, like you go to a party and then you set your alarm at 8:25 in the morning to book a ticket, and then still you are too late. So I didn't see the substance. I didn't see Kind of Kindness.
Well, did you have a chance to experience the system at Cannes?
No, then it was like impossible to even see another movie. So yeah, there was more justice in
Like,
this festival too.
If you were at Cannes as a viewer, you would know the real pain of getting tickets.
But no, so I saw those two, and those were really great, and I also saw Bloomsbury Palace already in Paris, but that's also going to screen also at Semaine, also a fantastic movie, and I mean, like, yeah, just for me the catalog is also like already a great reference for, you know, the movies that will come out in Belgium, and I will have the opportunity to see. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic festival, fantastic audience, fantastic people. You really can feel in Poland that you have such a love and also, like, you know, a cultural relationship with cinema. And I can feel in the audience when, you know, they ask me questions, it's for all the right reasons or something. And that's, for me, so energizing, that indeed, like, between, you know, the beginning of your movie and the ending of Julie, you know, like, I want to write because, you know, like, I have, you know, like, I got the adrenaline back, you know, like, by just speaking with people about movies and what movies can be and why we love movies and all that stuff. So, yeah, I go back home very romantic and in love with Poland.
So I hope that this love will prevail and you will come back to the New Horizon Festival with your next project.
I hope so too. It would break my heart if they say it's a shit movie and we don't want you this year.
Oh no, like I think that New Horizons is one of those festivals that really cherishes their authors, and if you come here once, there's a very high probability that.
I mean, you always need, you know, you need to make a good movie. But what I can say about Poland is that our sales is Polish, and they bought it, like, you know, like, or they became partners on the team already. I think 2 years ago or something, and then our distributor also bought it based on the script. And, you know, like, in that way, you know, like, Poland has, you know, they have been having my back. So in that way, like, you know, for me, the relationship with Poland and with, you know, the love for cinema is also, how do you say, like, was a bit like a wind in my back that, you know, pushed me further. So also thank you, Poland.
So I would also like to thank you for this beautiful movie and for giving us some of your time. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. See you in the next one. Thank you once again.
Thank you.